Well, hello again and welcome to another edition of Weird News and Wacky History, a look behind the scenes of what's been happening throughout the years. I'm your host, Pastor Roland Moss, that old history dude. Quiet night at home? Sounds like a good night for game night. I still have vivid childhood memories of marching around a circle of chairs, nervously trying to stage myself to be within range of a seat when the music unexpectedly stopped. With one less chair than child, someone was always getting left out. Of course, I'm speaking of the kids' game of musical chairs. Or maybe not so childish after all. Despite intensive research, no one really knows when the simple game was invented or by whom. What is certain is that it's very old. Its earliest known name is Road to Jerusalem, from the German Reis nach Jerusalem. The game may have been a childish depiction of the Crusades, which sought to free Palestine and Jerusalem from occupation from 1095 to 1291. The missing chair and constant losses may have been a way to illustrate the high mortality rates. Mix in adults and play can get combative. I personally witnessed one bout between Unangan villagers in the Aleutian Islands that ended up in a full-blown wrestling match and even blood being shed. Arguably the highest level regularly played musical chairs game is staged by the British House of Commons. With 650 members of this august legislative body, the chamber where they meet only seats 427. So either come early or end up standing. Some early games were downright scary. When the 19th century began, Christmas was barely acknowledged in England. Many businesses didn't even regard it as a holiday. Yet by century's end, it was the largest annual celebration with many familiar aspects that we still enjoy. Welcome to the Yuletide world of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. Victoria's marriage in 1840 to German-born Albert brought England a host of imported old world customs. Foremost among them were decorated Christmas trees, sagging under homemade decorations, candles, candy, fruit, and small gifts. Homes were lavishly decorated with evergreens. Christmas cards were prominently displayed, and the table groaned underneath the turkey and other seasonal delicacies. But not all Victorian wintry customs have survived, thankfully. Snapdragon was a perennial Christmas favorite. Simply cover a wide flat plate with raisins and almonds. Douse liberally with brandy, ignite, and then race your friends to see who could toss the most blazing fruit and nuts into your mouth with your bare fingers without sustaining second-degree burns. This was considered a perfectly normal winter evening's activity. Sadly, fun with blazing booze was losing ground to the much tamer and much safer Christmas tree. But General Richard Steele did miss seeing friends, quote, looking like a demon as we burned ourselves and snatched at the fruit, unquote. Ah, the blazing days of yore. Other games were therapeutic in their design. Milton Bradley executive Mel Taft describes Eleanor Abbott as just as sweet as could be. In 1948, the San Diego schoolteacher was in her 30s when she contracted polio. In the 40s and 50s, polio was a medical monster that interfered with the body's ability to control its own muscles. Survivors ended up on crutches, in wheelchairs, or even confined to an iron lung. All children were quarantined lest they catch the dread virus. Those infected were even more severely restricted. Eleanor realized what these kids needed was freedom of movement, even in the very smallest way. Abbott brought Taft a sketch of a new game on butcher paper. No rules, no strategy, just moving from the beginning along a winding multicolored pathway to the end. The premiere edition even showed a boy and a girl walking along, the boy in a leg brace. Suddenly, even the feeblest child could enjoy moving, even if only on a board game. The polio vaccine in 1952 all but eradicated the disease, and with it also faded the popularity of Eleanor's game about movement. Still, over 70 years later, 60% of homes with small children owns one, and still sells 1 million copies a year. The name is still the same, Candyland. And what if driving was more like a board game? Remember driver's education? Back in the day, the school brought in a specially equipped semi-trailer filled with driver's stations complete with steering wheel, turn signals, brakes, and accelerators. Each hopeful driver would then pretend drive the simulator while trying to avoid jaywalkers, children running out of driveways, and emergency situations of all kinds on the screen. All this was enhanced by seeing gory films of catastrophic accidents. I don't know how effective it was in the long run, but the African nation of Sierra Leone has developed an interesting alternative, a board game called The Driver's Way. Much like Monopoly, it tests how well you know the rules of driving, turn signals, and automotive operation while making your way around the board. Costing 60,000 leones, about $14, in local stores, each student driver must play the game at least once. Players start with a certain amount of cash, roll traffic signal-shaped dice to move their toy cars around the board, and mistakes earn them tickets. The goal is to reach the end with the most money left. So, how effective is the driving game? Well, the jury's still out on that one, but one wonders just how much easier teen driving would be if the dashboards actually looked more like board games. And that's about all the time we have for this episode of Weird News and Wacky History, a look behind the scenes at what's been happening through the years. I'm your host, Pastor Roland Moss, the old history guy, author, historian, and speaker, wishing that all of your history could be just a bit weird.